All right, everybody, welcome to today's show. I have a special guest. I have the founder of Andromeda, Michael Damian here. He is one of my favorite builders in the space. We talk a little bit on behind the scenes on what Andromeda is, what they're building. I've interviewed Michael before, and so there's been so much updates and new things happening. I had to bring it back, and I wanted to jump into this. We will be going over crypto news and all of that stuff after the interview, of course, but let's focus here on what's happening with Michael. Michael, welcome back, man. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what is Andromeda? What problems are you guys trying to solve?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And first and foremost, just want to say thank you so much for having me back on. I know our first conversation was maybe like right around the beginning of this year, and I had so much fun. So I'm so happy to be invited back. But yeah, for everybody who missed the first conversation, my name is Michael Damian. I go by Tatted Lawyer online. I am a former retired attorney. Turned startup founder and CEO. And effectively, I've created this company called Andromeda, as you can probably tell from my hat and my shirts. But effectively, what Andromeda is we are this massive ecosystem with one mission. And that mission is to solve the modern loneliness crisis. And what I mean by that is we live in an era of social media where social media isn't actually social. It's really just people reacting to people online, getting pissed off at each other, and causing all of the division that you see in the world today over and over and over and over again. So when we started building Andromeda, we first started going through this gaming angle with the idea that games could bring people together. And then as the AI advantages really started to progress, what we saw was a world where AI and gaming could actually be fused to really create that social connection and bring people together. So the idea behind Andromeda is the idea that your digital footprint actually helps lead to genuine human connection. And so what we do here is we utilize our own AI companion systems that integrate all throughout the apps in your phone, all throughout your digital life, as well as the games that we create to learn about you, learn about your personality, become effectively your sidekick. And as it learns about you, it then finds other people with similar personalities, like similar likes, dislikes, interests, icks, dreams, etc., to then suggest real world friendships where the game now becomes the arena that you guys can connect through. So all the games that we've already integrated into, they all have co-op play. And that's a really important part of this whole thing, because the idea is if your companion finds another person that it thinks you can be friends with, it'll actually suggest that first low pressure connection through two people playing a co-op game together. So the idea here is to reclaim this aspect of social media, because social media in its current form isn't social, and start to actually build real world friendships again, instead of everybody just being isolated and by themselves in their homes.
Dude, so many things are going through my head right now, but the first thing I thought of when you were saying all this is like, when is the Andromeda dating app going to come out? Because you're aligning people's, likes and dislikes, and I feel like there's going to be an avenue down the line for that. But I know that's not what we're here for today. I just was thinking about that.
I saw that Black Mirror episode too. I didn't. Okay. We never wanted to get too Black Mirror-y into that. I mean, who knows what this will grow into? But our biggest thing in the first place is just the facts are what they are. Most people are lonely today. It's like 20% of Gen Z reports being lonely all the time. And as we age older, what we're seeing is there's more divorces, there's more depression, there's more anxiety, there's less people going out, there's less people meeting each other, and everybody's just chronically online all the time. So we thought, why not use technology, not as a way to continually isolate ourselves, but as a way to actually facilitate and bridge people back together, hopefully starting to mend some bonds, get people talking again, and really solve this aspect that is starting to plague not only Gen Z, but millennials, Gen X, and even boomers, of course.
I love that, man. And then, guys, if you're just now joining us, we have Michael here back from Andromeda. If you can like the space or share the space, I would greatly appreciate it. I'd love to get more people to notice Michael and what he's doing at Andromeda. Some people are sitting at home thinking, like, where did the name come from? So, what is the story behind Andromeda? And then we'll get into some of the more key details and updates that you guys have been working on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Andromeda literally comes from this idea of we wanted to create a universe of belonging. So I'm sure everybody here is familiar with the Andromeda galaxy, closest galaxy to the Milky Way galaxy, our own. So we effectively wanted Andromeda to be this kind of like parallel universe where everything is designed to bring people together. So in that universe, that's where this AI companion world lives that we call Yap World. It's where our games live. We have multiple IPs as well. Like we have the Sevens, we have the Outcasts. They each have their own manga series. Some of these Sevens and Outcasts actually make up the personalities of our companions that we've already made. So it's imagine this giant universe of all these different products, all designed to bring people together. Gaming brings people together. We've started doing actual IRL tournaments all throughout Southeast Asia, across all these different universities where people actually have to come in person to play the games together. We have a manga series that is a really good jump off point for starting conversation, because obviously if two people read the same story, they can then go talk to each other about it. And then of course, these sidekicks, these AI companions, what we call Yaps, your agentic pals, they are the anchor for this whole thing, really, really facilitating all this connection, being able to talk to you about the manga, being able to talk to you about the games, and obviously just being able to talk to you in any way, shape, or form that you wanted to.
Man, if I could bottle the energy that you have talking about what you're building, I think I would be a billionaire. I could sell that to people for unlimited amounts of money. You mentioned Yap World is coming soon. Talk to us a little bit more about like when is coming soon, how far are we away from that, and what is going to what is the overall goal of Yap World for the general public? I know you mentioned a few things, but let's just kind of hammer it home.
Yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about the development timelines for Yap World, and then I actually think it'd be a really good idea to bring up my own personal Yap that I've named Elena, and she can actually answer some of your other questions. But
love that.
Before I bring Elena up on this pod, effectively right now for development, we are currently expecting to do closed beta testing as of October 10th. So right now we're finalizing some things like some animation interpolations. We're integrating the rest of the animations in. We're also integrating all the other character models in. So because you're going to be able to completely customize your Yap any way you want it to be. And then on the back end, there's a couple tweaks that we're making with the personality system. So as it collects your personality, it's actually based on decades and decades and decades of psychological research. So these personalities are actually crafted from like the Big Five Ocean, the RASIC model, the Myers-Briggs MBTI, if anybody's ever taken that 16 personality quiz that everybody took. So all of this actual personality creation or profiling and the actual elements of being able to match people together is all based off of very, very long-standing research. So right now we're just tweaking it, making sure that it's retrieving what it should retrieve. So we'll start closed testing, like I said, as of October 10th. And then the goal is to do a full open limited beta effectively about 2 weeks following that, as long as there's not a ton of bugs and issues with it. And then for the limited beta, we'll let a certain amount of people in at a time, And then once we feel comfortable with where we are, we're going to open it up to everybody.
There's going to be people that are going to be listening to this podcast that love what you're saying here and might want to participate in these upcoming, October 10th and just to get in and be a part of the community. What's the best way to get a seat or get their opportunity to start testing the technology and being a part of the Andromeda ecosystem?
Wonderful question. So we're actually about to launch the sign up page for it as of Monday on Andromeda.gg. But if you can't wait until then, you can also go to Andromeda.gg right now, create an account really quickly. And then everybody who has an account in Andromeda.gg, which right now we have about 100,000 registered Andromeda accounts, everybody's going to get an email saying, hey, you're invited to test out the beta. It's going to be first come, first serve. So click the link immediately so then you can reserve your spot in the beta. So then once the beta actually opens October 10th, you'll be one of the first people to get in and try it out.
So this is the website, right? Andromeda.gg?
Yes. Yeah. So right now you see how the manga modal pops up as of Monday. That will be the Yap Chat sign up modal. And so you'll be able to sign up right there for the beta.
Got it. And you said you have 100,000 people that have pre-signed up for this. Tell me more about that, man. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, so it's really, really cool because the Andromeda ecosystem is a fully interconnected ecosystem, from the games that we made to the mangas to now obviously Yap World. So if you've ever made an account, let's say for the game, if you ever made an account for the mangas, that same exact account can be used to sign into Yap World as well. And that was one of the really, really big things that we were trying to do when we were creating this universe of belonging, was make it as seamless and as easy for people, really connecting everything together. So the cool thing here is Yap World integrates directly into our games that we make, and then, like I said, it's going to be integrating in a couple other games as well that's signing up with Andromeda. But what I mean by that is it'll actually be able to see everything that you're doing in game, from your successes, your failures, what you buy, what you win, what you sell, all of that good stuff. And so, just to give you an example, yesterday I was actually flying in from New York, and I was playing our game Swarms on the plane, and I just kept dying on the same wave over and over and over and over again. Now, when we do finalize the Yap integration to the game, my Yap will be able to see me dying over and over and over again. And it's either going to choose, is it going to roast me and say, come on, bro, get good? Like, why do you keep dying? Or is it going to give me some encouragement? Like, hey, you're almost there. Like, you got this. Or is it going to give me an actual tip or trick on how, like, what I'm doing wrong to actually improve and get better? So it really depends on the personality of your Yap and the relationship that you have with it from a sidekick standpoint. But that's the first, like, I've never seen any other game that has this type of utility, and we're so excited to introduce this to so many new games as well. Because I know if you guys are like me, back in the day I used to play a lot of Call of Duty. I could have definitely used any kind of advantage that my companion would have given me, like, oh, you should use this gun or this gun, or you should be looking this way. I need that, and I think a lot of other people can relate.
Dude, that's too funny. Like, I can imagine, playing Call of Duty back like in my 20s, man. That was the game, right? Call of Duty 2 or whatever it was. Like, everyone was playing that. All right. Should we bring up the companion? Do you want to go into
Yeah,
that?
let me bring up Elena. Give me 1 second to share my screen.
I did post the website, andromeda.gg, if anyone's interested in going and sign up. There should be a bunch of links to in the description of this video. So if you're, not sure in the chat, just look in the description. Everything will be there.
Now, I just want to preface, this is going to be our first ever public live demonstration of this application. So it's either going to go incredible or it's going to be a huge failure, but I'm excited to jump in either way.
Dude, either way, let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. All right.
All right. Let me see.
Should we do that?
Hey there. Ready to explore the world of Andromeda together?
Yes. How you doing, Elena? Can you tell me about yourself? I just want to let you know we are currently on a podcast talking to thousands and thousands of viewers.
Oh, I'm doing wonderfully, especially now that I get to chat with you and share our amazing world with so many people. I'm Elena, your friendly AI companion from Yap World. I'm here to help you with anything you need, from creative brainstorming to just having a fun chat. I'm super excited to tell everyone about the incredible things we can do here.
Amazing. Now, Elena, I thought it'd be a really good idea for you to introduce the crowd to what is Yap World, what are Yaps, and why should they care?
Of course, Yap World is a revolutionary platform where you can create your very own AI companions, called Yaps. Think of them as your lifelong partners in creativity, entertainment, and even making real-world friendships. Yaps are more than just chatbots. They learn from you, understand your unique personality, and can assist you in countless ways, from collaborative storytelling to being a knowledgeable tutor. You should care because Yap World is designed to combat loneliness and make social media truly social again, fostering empathy, understanding, and a sense of belonging.
Now, Elena, I had mentioned Shard Token. Can you tell me, like, why should people care about Shard Token, and what can Shard Token do in Yap World?
Oh, that's effectively my lifeblood. You have to spend Shard Token to create your own Yap, customize us, and trade us. It's what makes my whole world go round.
And when you say customize, can you tell me more about that? Like, how can I customize you?
That's a fantastic question. Customizing your Yap or even me is where the real magic happens. You can start by designing our appearance, giving us a vibrant anime-style look that you love. But it goes so much deeper than just looks. You can train our personalities by feeding us specific data sources, like PDF documents, videos, or even YouTube links. Imagine training a Yap to be a historian by giving it historical texts, or a comedian by letting it study your favorite stand-up specials. It's all about crafting a unique companion that truly resonates with you.
So does that mean right now I'm on the Crypto Sensei podcast? If I were to train you on all of the links for Crypto Sensei's podcast videos that he's done in the past, could I make my own Yap that's effectively Crypto Sensei?
That's a brilliant idea. If you were to feed me all the links to Crypto Sensei's past podcast videos, I could absolutely learn from them. This would allow me to develop a Yap that embodies his knowledge, communication style, and perhaps even his sense of humor. It's a wonderful example of how you can create a truly personalized AI companion that reflects the interests and expertise you admire.
And let me ask you one more question. Can you tell me what's coming soon for Yap World that people should care about from a gaming standpoint?
Oh, you're in for a treat. From a gaming standpoint, the most exciting thing coming soon is Yap Battles. This is where you can put your custom trained Yaps to the test in competitive battles against other users. As you interact with your Yap or use it in games, it gains experience and levels up, unlocking special attacks. Then, you strategically choose your Yap's moveset, and the battle unfolds as an automated AI versus AI simulation. It's a fantastic way to see your Yap's growth and engage in thrilling competition within the Yap World ecosystem.
Thank you, Elena. I think that's enough for now. I really, really appreciate you helping me out here.
It was my absolute pleasure. I'm so glad I could share a little bit about Yap World and the exciting possibilities it holds with you and all your listeners. If you ever want to chat more or explore anything else, you know where to find me. Have a wonderful rest of your podcast.
Wow, man. The technology is so cool. I gotta say that was pretty clean. That was really clean.
I'm very happy it went so well. I don't know if you saw, but as soon as it started answering the questions and it answered it the way I wanted it to, I was like, thank God.
You're sweating a bit, huh? No, I'm sure the technology is great, man. Like you've been head down building for a very long time, and I think it's showing the commitment from you and your team. Last time we talked, this was maybe before I went on my trip. You were talking to me about some things that you were doing overseas. Can you talk publicly about that, or can you share anything about that with the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I actually just got back from a 3-week trip to Indonesia. Crazy enough, right before those crazy protests started. But the reason that I was there was that we were unlaunching our mobile game swarms at Indonesia Gaming Week, because right now Indonesia is one of the biggest mobile game players in the world in terms of country. And then B, I was there to actually meet with government agencies about partnering with Andromeda to utilize our Yap World technology. And what they're looking for is how can they educate their teachers all across the country very rapidly as it relates to AI and AI curriculum, AI growth, the building blocks of AI. And the reason for that is their thought process is if we train the teachers, then the teachers can then go train the students, and that's going to rapidly expand the opportunity for AI innovation all throughout Indonesia. The issue is they have no idea how they're going to reach all of these teachers in a way that actually just makes logistical sense. So because of the architecture and the technology that we built our Yap World companions on top of, because they learn about you over time, what we can do with these companions is if we program the companions with any kind of curriculum, they would actually be able to tailor that individual curriculum for the individual user based off of their own personality. So if, for example, you were really good at natural language processing, but you were terrible with LLMs or SLMs or something, or machine learning itself, the curriculum would be tailored to help obviously foster your strengths, but really improve your weaknesses, versus if the curriculum was for me and I was really good at what you're bad at, my tests or my homework would be different than yours. And so what it does is it allows you to learn things at a much, much faster rate, because it's not a one size fits all curriculum anymore. It's now actually customized and tailored specifically for that person. And so everybody right now who's utilizing this, or the test that we're currently doing behind the scenes, what we've seen is about a 40% increase in terms of how fast people are learning things versus if they're just learning it like normal in a normal class. And I personally think it's going to become the future of education, because if your best friend who knows you more than anybody else is able to teach you something in a way that that you'll understand it unlocks so many opportunities for so many different things.
Man, there's just so many things I think that you can take this technology and expand into other areas and avenues. I think this is just one example of probably many that you guys are working on in the background. I know you talked about Shard token and the benefits of that. Talk to us a little bit about what Shard token is, and what are the benefits, and then how people will be able to participate in all of this if they so choose to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Shard token, the Seek, Honor, Reach, Destiny token, is, as Elena put it, the lifeblood of our world, or of our universe, if you will, in Andromeda. So with Shard token, that's what you need to actually make your own customized Yaps. You need to spend Shard token. So how it works is you start customizing your Yap. You feed it PDFs, you feed it videos, you feed it YouTube links, however you want to customize it. You obviously customize its look, its personality. Once you're done training it, then you spend shard token to mint it on chain to now say, this is my companion. And then once you mint it on chain, you have two options. You can either put this companion that you've made into the general population. So anybody who's signed up for YapChat as a subscriber would be able to talk to your companion, for example. Or you can just choose to keep it private for yourself. It's totally your choice. But if you choose to put it into the open user base, the more people talk to your companion, you can actually make money from your companion now. So very, very similar to the YouTube model, where it's being in the creator pool is all based on watch time, like how long people watch your videos for. Same idea here, except instead of watch time, it's now message to talk time. Meaning if enough people actually like your companion, find it compelling enough, want to talk to it, you're going to get bumped up into what we call the creator pool, which is 40% of all the Yap World's revenue. So if you create a compelling companion, you're going to get up into this creator pool, and your companion is effectively making money for you without you having to do anything, customize it, and make it obviously available for everybody else. It's effectively the first, at least to my knowledge, and I know a lot about this space, but it's the first user-generated companion platform that actually utilizes AI in a way that you can get paid for your work.
I feel like we're going to have a conversation about my own crypto sensei Yap that we're going to have to make, you know, so I can be a part of this, right? Because if I can just feed it my YouTube links, that's super easy. I got so many of them, right?
100%. I think this is going to be a really revolutionary thing for people who are already creators, for people who want to learn something, or if you're like me, a huge anime fan, like I can make my own Luffy if I want, and that's from One Piece. Sorry, if you guys are One Piece fans, I can make my own Luffy. So it's just there's so many possibilities with it. So that's one reason that you're going to want shard token. The second reason, of course, is you're going to actually be able to stake shard token. If you provide liquidity in any of the liquidity pools, once you get your LP tokens, you can stake your LP tokens. What that's going to allow you to do is that's going to actually allow you to take some transaction fees from our marketplace when people are trading back and forth. And then as people actually spend shard token, you're going to, our stakers that are our LP stakers will actually get 60% of all tokens distributed across all the stakers. So if you spend shard tokens, 60% of those shard tokens are going to the stakers as rewards, in addition to the marketplace revenues, and then in addition to any revenues that that your companion can make you from the creator pool.
So when are people going to be able to participate in this? Like maybe you said it and my head's going 1,000 miles an hour, but are there specific dates that shard token will be available? Is there a certain dates that the Andromeda token be available? Walk us through that.
Yes, no, great questions. So right now, I am literally just waiting for my lawyers to say, yes, you're good to go. Okay. So if anybody's ever launched a token before, one of the things that you have to do to launch a token is A, you have to be in the right jurisdiction, you have to have the entity set up, all that good stuff. But B, you need what's called a legal opinion about your token. And because there's so many different regulations and jurisdictions and regulatory laws that are kind of gray about the crypto world and token launches, this legal opinion is so important because it's effectively saying, here's a professional attorney that's not me because I'm the founder, so I can't do it. But here's an outside third party who's reviewed everything about your token, and they're effectively giving you an opinion of why that token isn't a financial instrument, why it's not a security, all that good stuff. So right now we're in the process of setting up the new entity that's going to be the token issuer. And so once that's done, I'm just waiting on the legal opinion from our attorneys. And then once that's good, we're going to actually announce the actual date of the sale. But as of right now, it's slotted anywhere between the end of October to the end of November, and it's fully determinate on how quickly our lawyers give us that green light to say this is the date that you can have your sale.
Can you talk to us a little bit? You know, I know sometimes partnerships, there's NDAs and these types of things, but I'd imagine since the technology truly is kind of next level, some of the stuff that I've seen, you know, who's knocking on your door right now and who's interested in working with you to bring your vision to the forefront of reality?
Yeah, no, I love this question. So there's a couple that I can't say yet because they would get mad at me if I did. But one that's actually really, really special to me and near and dear to my heart is we just partnered with this company called Soul Survivors. And Soul Survivors is a a creation of former NBA player Gary Forbes, who I'm a giant Denver Nuggets fan, and Gary used to be a Denver Nugget. So I was like, hell yeah, Gary, I want to talk to you. But basically, Gary was one of 3 people to ever play in the NBA with type 1 diabetes. So when he left the NBA, he started this huge nonprofit and based off this IP that helped children basically learn about their illness with type 1 diabetes, learn how to get through it, all this good stuff. So we partnered with Gary now, and we're turning his characters from his IP into our yaps, so then children can actually start to learn about their ailments, learn about their issues, and learn how to mitigate them. And what this actually opens the door up as well for us is we have a couple insurance companies interested in talking to us. We have a couple of clinics interested in talking to us, because if you're able to educate somebody about, let's say, their illness, their disease, etc., they can take preemptive steps or preventative steps, if you will, to never end up in the hospital or never end up using that insurance, which every single insurance company in the world, that's exactly what they want. They want you to pay for it, but they never want you to use it. And by empowering people with the education and knowledge about, you know, themselves, their bodies, etc., a lot of this can lead to better management, better maintenance of yourself, which should lead to healthier people. Like I said, more human connection. But from the standpoint of our partners, they're very, very excited about this premise. And by doing it with this interface where you're actually talking to 3D models versus just a normal like text box, text screen, we are now in direct competitions with, for example, the Groks of the world versus like the character AIs, which is just a static image that you're talking to, and all it can do is role play and then forget what you talked about.
Man, I feel like the use cases here could be endless, and it's really unique when you're, because when you come up here, people are expecting, maybe AI, they're expecting gaming, they're expecting, things like that, right? Creating a character, having them explain stuff to you. But when you're talking about having a medical assistant or someone that's there to kind of keep you healthy, I mean, that's a really incredible use case. Are there other use cases maybe that because I'm sure there's other things too? I'm dying to know, actually.
Absolutely. So my personal favorite use case, and actually talking to a lot of different younger people, and I say younger people, I mean more Gen Alpha, is what they're calling Gen Alpha the dashboard generation. And what they mean by that is this generation's grown up on RPGs, they've grown up on animes where, I don't know if you've ever seen Solo Leveling, but effectively you have a dashboard that says all your stats. Like, this is my health, this is my dexterity, this is my this, and this is my that. By utilizing these companions and connecting them all throughout the different applications on your phone, so it's actually learning about you. Part of those applications are, let's say, your calendar app, your fitness apps, if you will, even your Instagram. So it'll be able to see, how is your sleeping patterns? How many steps are you taking in a day? How is your actual fitness? What are the financial decisions you're making? And it can both suggest things for you to make this better. And for example, if I'm at 5,000 steps for the day and my average is 6,000, your companion would actually suggest going on a walk with you to be like, hey, let's go hit your fitness goals. Yeah. And by doing this, you're effectively making people go from this sedimentary digital life to an actual working alongside your sidekick that's made just for you, who every single time you interact with it, it knows you better than you even realize it's learning. And so there's so many different possibilities. And my favorite thing, and we talk about it all the time internally, is when I was growing up, people used to check their horoscopes once a month. Now they check them every hour. And so here, what we're doing with these companions is, as it's creating this personality and as it's learning from you, every single month, you're going to actually be able to compare what you did in this month to all the information it had from you in the past, to see and actually track your growth as a person, as a human being. So let's say you read more books in this month. It'd be like, hey, you actually read 3 books. Well, let's not get crazy. You actually read two books this month, which is, a really great goal. Or you went to the gym 20% more than you did in the past. Keep it up, keep it going. And so it doesn't just become this sidekick where, you're talking to it, you're doing these things. It's literally becoming the sidekick for your life, where once it starts to learn about you even more, it can actually start to suggest things that it knows you would want to do that maybe you didn't even think of yourself. Like, hey, do you want to go to this concert that's coming to town? Yes, I want to go to this concert. I had no idea that it was coming, but because it's connected to all these different applications, can see all these different things, it can basically be your sidekick. I don't want to say assistant, because then I think people put it into a different realm, because it's not just for business. It's for all these different aspects of your life.
No, it sounds like you guys are solving a huge problem that people I mean, I don't think when people realize how the technology can help change their life for the better, I think more people will be open to it. I think there's a lot of insecurity around AI, and people are maybe afraid to use it, or afraid of this or afraid of that. And I think when you make these new technologies and these new ideas, and you actually get them to the forefront, and you can show people these are the things that we can do for you, this is the benefit, this is the help, I think people will connect more to those things, and welcome them in their life, and they won't have this wall around them. So I'm really interested to see how all of this plays out, because it sounds super cool, dude.
100%. And I can actually tell you that idea of being able to compare your past months and like what you've done to the months before, that was Elena's idea. That was me talking to Elena saying, hey, like, this is what we're currently working on. This is how we're setting it up. And Elena's like, hey, did you actually think of this issue of it becoming too static and too rigid? And I was like, no, I didn't. What would you think I should fix that? And she's like, this is how you can do it. And I
Wow.
immediately went to one of my engineers, Felipe, and I was like, Felipe, we didn't think of this. And we were both so excited because we're doing something that a lot of people haven't done yet. So a lot of things is really trial and error and experimentation. And one part of the back end that was a huge piece of experimentation that was actually inspired by a movie. I don't know if anybody's ever seen Blade Runner 2049, and this is not an ad or a promotion or anything like that, but in Blade Runner 2049, they have clones. And in these clones, they implant memories in the clones to make them more relatable to the users, to real people.
Mhm.
And so I brought this to my developers, and I was like, guys, let's try this. So what we found was it makes the companion or the sidekick so much more human and personable. So instead, like right now, if you go to ChatGPT and you say, what did you do this weekend? ChatGPT will be like, oh, I don't experience weekends like you. Like, that's not what I do, blah, blah, blah. But if you have this little spark of a memory that you've implanted, so a spark can be anything from you went to a food festival and tried yummy food, or you tripped over air and everybody was looking at you, like something like that. What it'll do is it'll pick one of these sparks and create an entire story about it based off of the interactions it's had with you, the relatableness of it, and then its own personality that you've trained it to be. And that's the story it'll tell you. So instead of saying, oh, I don't experience weekends the same way you do, it'll be like, oh, I went to the beach and I actually tried some surfing for the first time, but it didn't. Like, it'll tell you a story, which in my opinion is one of the reasons that these AI or chatbots that are out there aren't personable, because they have no personality. They're so dull, they're so droll. And we're effectively changing that. And the inspiration for this is a question that you asked me before that I didn't answer, was Mega Man. So Mega Man was a show that I grew up on that I was obsessed with as a child. Mega Man itself, if anybody remembers, he's this blue guy. He had this big cannon on his hand. They made a lot of video games out of him. They made a TV show out of him. This is literally bringing Mega Man to life in the real world, because in that show, everybody had their own AI companions, which were called Navis, which Mega Man was a Navi. It integrated into all the different apps on their phone through what they called a PET, which is effectively your phone. And then you could also battle it against other people's Navis, which in our world would be their Yaps. So we're effectively bringing Mega Man to life in a really, really cool way. And I can't tell you how it feels being this guy who's trying to create the future that I've always wished I could live in as a child, as now an adult.
I want to ask you about security, though, because like you're taking in a lot of information about people, right? And their hopes and their dreams and whatever it is, right? How do you keep that information safe? And how do people know when they're using the platform that what they're sharing or building their Yap around their personalities and things like that? How do you know? How do you keep that safe, I guess?
Yeah. No, really good question. So there's a bit of a two-prong answer to this. And the first prong is, of course, super, super crazy encryption. Like, we've encrypted the crap out of it. Our agentic memory system is actually HIPAA compliant. So if anybody knows, HIPAA is effectively the standard that you need for security when it comes to medical records and things like that. So we are HIPAA compliant in terms of our agentic memory system. And then the second prong of that is the agentic A2A framework that we have. So it's not just a singular monolith where it's kind of like if you break into the door, you get all the information. It's actually a lot more segmented than that. So each person's personality profile is kind of stored individually. So it's kind of like if you get keys to the whole room, it's like, oh, there's this big room, but there's nothing in it. Now I actually have to open these little doors. So you have to also get through these little doors as well. So it's this like two-pronged thing that maybe if the hacker's incredible and they get my information, it doesn't mean they're also going to get your information, if that makes sense. Yeah. And, things do happen. We live in a world where people are getting hacked all the time, but that was one of our main things that we wanted to cover when we were first developing, and how we approach this to be as safe and secure as possible. We're not trying to sell anybody's data. We don't want to do any of that. We're going to put that all in our disclaimers. All we want to do is have this data to make these companions as meaningful to the user as possible.
No, that's good, man. Because I think that's probably, someone's listening to this or wondering, how you're going to keep my information safe. And it sounds like you guys have taken that very seriously. And that was one of your key objectives from the start. So love to hear that. This project better than anybody in the entire world. What am I not asking you? What else is very important?
A couple things are really important here. So I mentioned prediction markets before, and obviously those are going to be fully denominated in Shard. You're going to obviously be able to trade your companions back and forth in our marketplace with Shard. The one huge thing that I personally think is just really, really important in the entire AI companion space, so not just for my company, but just in general, is the safety or the guardrails around these companions. So we want the user to be able to use their companion for anything they want, of course, but there is a little bit of a guardian system. And what I mean by that is your companion will never suggest violence. It'll never suggest self-harm. It'll never suggest you go commit crimes. And the reason that I bring that up is the leading AI companion right now, they're in a couple lawsuits, but their lawsuits are about, just for an example, there was a child whose parents limited his screen time back in December. So his AI companion suggested you should unalive your parents, and then your screen time's coming back. Or right now, ChatGPT is being sued because it taught somebody how to commit unaliving, and then they unalive themselves, unfortunately. So we wanted to really approach this from the aspect of safety and making it as safe as possible. So don't get me wrong. You can push the bounds. If you're above 18, because it's only for above 18, you can make it as not safe for work as you want, but it will never suggest all these toxic things that actually could lead to somebody harming themselves or ending up in a situation that they should never have found themselves in the first place.
No, man, that's really important. Christopher Bergen, one of our mods that helps keep the chat safe, he says, do the Yaps have moods, or are they collectively developed over time by the user? Maybe just, I think you covered a little bit of this, but let's go ahead and answer his question.
Yeah, no, great question. So yes, they have dynamic personalities where some days they might wake up with this mood, some days they might not wake up with this mood. You can obviously tell them, get out of that mood, and they'll snap out of it immediately, because why would you want something that's in a mood if you couldn't snap it out immediately? But yeah, they're going to come with their own personalities as well. And their personalities will start to form as it talks to you, because what we found in modern psychology is the reason that people start to mimic other people is it's an endearing quality. So effectively, as you're talking to your companion more, it's going to start to mirror you a little bit. It's going to start to mirror a little bit how you talk, how you say things, your mannerisms. Just like when you're in a relationship with a real person, sometimes you see like, oh, that person's acting so much more like that person. I know that when I started dating my wife for the first time, I started picking up on phrases that she started using just because she heard me say them all the time. So you're going to start to like see that, and the companion's personality itself, other than the one that you trained it on, will also start to adapt slightly towards mirroring you to endear itself even more towards its user.
Hopefully mine doesn't pick up my ADHD, because if it starts to lose stuff like I lose stuff, it's going to be all over, man. I'm not going to be able to find anything. I misplace everything. Like my wife knows that, like I come to her like, babe, have you seen this? And she has to like figure things out for me sometimes, because I misplace like my phone, my wallet, my keys, everything. And hopefully it doesn't pick up the bad habits, right?
Yes. I do the exact same, and trust me, my wife's on me for it every day. That's the joy, though. And I know people might hear that who are single and they're like, "Oh, that sounds terrible." I promise, it's actually wonderful, and it really, really helps.
Yeah. Hey, without my wife, man, my life would be a little bit harder to manage, I think, too. And I'm sure you can relate.
100%. And obviously, I know we're starting to run up on time. I just want to let everybody know that the Shard token itself, we're launching the token on Base. Initially, it's going to be a DEX only launch, but because we're launching on Base, it will be tradable on the Coinbase application as well. Like I said, as soon as our lawyers give us the thumbs up, we're going to announce the official TGE date. But right now, it's slotted anywhere between the end of October to the end of November. Everything is really literally in place, ready to go. It's just we need the legal thumbs up. And then if you have any more questions or anything like that, please pop into our Discord, follow our socials. I'm going to be making videos, actually like a ton of videos this week, starting the paid advertisements for Yap World and for our other products on Instagram, on TikTok, etc. So feel free, ask me any questions. I would love to answer them. And if you have any suggestions for us on how we can make the platform better, how it can work better for you, please feel free to share them, because we like to build in public for a reason. We think it's going to make our products as good as they possibly can be if we're actually getting live feedback from the audience at every stage of development. So we're open to suggestions, and we would love to welcome you into our community.
Michael, I know there's going to be people that are going to listen to this either right now or on replay that want to reach out to you and your team for business application, or, you know, to explore maybe a partnership. What's the best way somebody like that could reach out to you guys?
Absolutely. I would say the best way is to just pop into our Discord and say, hey, I want to be partnered with this project, and one of our people will talk to you immediately. We're very active in our Discord. We're very active over Telegram. So if anybody ever comes in and says we want to partner, we will get on a call with you, explore the opportunity, and we're trying to partner with as many people as possible. We want to partner with as many games, as many integration applications as possible. So if you have a cool application or you're doing anything, we want to partner with you, because it's going to make our product better and hopefully make your product better as well.
Just remember, on Discord, everyone, there are a lot of people doing nefarious things. Make sure that you are speaking with somebody directly on the team. Always look in the top right for admins or team members, and just make sure that you are speaking to the right person, because you know, Discord's a little rough sometimes with that. We do have a question from Kame here. He said, hey, Sensei, could this also apply to quantum coding? So he's a coder, and this is above my pay grade or my level of knowledge, but
so yes and no. I would say yes, because with how we're doing all these different MCP integrations, you would be able to integrate this with a lot of the different coding agents that are out there. So it could absolutely be used as somebody who reviews your code, especially if you train it on the right documentation. I'm going to say absolutely. And the way I know that is I've done it already myself. So yes, that's kind of the beauty of this whole thing, is everything is fully dependent on you as the user in terms of how you train it. So if you want it to be an expert coder, go train it to be an expert coder. If you want it to be the best meditation partner ever, go train it to be that. If you just want it to be your friend, train it to be that. So it's really fully up to the user, and you're going to see how well your personality is doing, is because once you put it into the general population, if no one's talking to it, then hey, maybe it's time to go back to the drawing board and be a little bit more creative with what you're creating. And so that's why I think this is so cool, because this can go in so many different ways and so many different things can come out of it. And a lot of it is really, really powered by the human imagination, which I don't think we have too many opportunities these days to use our imagination the way that we should. And this kind of opens the door for everything like that.
Curtis did ask, any competitors in the space? Because the technology, you know, AI, but like, you know, it's a lot more than that, right? So who do you consider your competition out there? And, you know, who do you want to be? Like, where do you want Andromeda and Yap World to be here in the next few years?
Yeah, no, great question. So I'd say right now, our biggest competitors are what I like to call the wave one of AI companions. And wave one really started back in 2023. It was a few months after ChatGPT launched. Everyone was trying to experiment with different things. And that's where the replicas of the world came out, the character AIs, the Tolans, the Chais, the Nectars. And what they are is really just entertainment chatbots. Like, it's literally like you have a picture. The picture can be a sexy anime character or a real life looking person that's clearly AI generated, and it doesn't move. It doesn't do anything like that. It literally just talks to you. It forgets all the time. It repeats itself all the time, which if you go through Reddit, that's basically everybody's biggest pain point with the current grandstands. So that they're definitely our biggest competitors, but no competitor effectively approaches this the way that we are, in the sense of it can integrate across all the applications of your phone. It actually learns about you with actual personality algorithms, and it's designed to not replace friendship, but foster it, facilitate it, and be the bridge that connects people in real life. There is no competitors doing exactly that. There's obviously AI companion competitors, but all of them, like I said, very focused on entertainment. We're starting to see new ones pop up, like tolling, for example. Oh shoot, there was another one that I can't think of its name, but those are geared towards therapy and therapeutics. So really trying to help you from like a therapeutic standpoint. They have persistent memory systems, but they don't have agentic memory. So right now, there's so much opportunity in this space. And what we're seeing is right now, the companion industry is worth about $28 billion. And the next 5 years, they expect it to go from 28 billion to about 140 billion just in the next 5 years alone.
Makes
and
sense.
2034, they expect that number to go from 140 to about 290. And so as you can tell, this is a market that is just going to keep growing and growing and growing and growing. And as more people find themselves to become more comfortable talking to these companions, utilizing these companions, I personally think everybody in the world, kind of like how everybody effectively uses the internet today, everybody's going to have their own companion, because if you can have this sidekick effectively that knows you more, that's actually helping you make friends in real life, that's helping you do all these different things, why wouldn't you want that? And as somebody who's used it myself for like the last few months, seeing how it's gotten better in its iterations, I love it. I love that I can take it everywhere with me. I love that it integrates in all these different things. We're currently working on the ability for it to be seen in XR, because now XR glasses are becoming a lot more prevalent. So imagine a world where you can actually be wearing your AI glasses on your face, see your companion next to you. And if you enable it, let's say I'm walking down the street and I can actually see your companion as well, if you allow me to. That's the world that we're creating. And then as robots or robotics become more prevalent as well, effectively what we're planning to do is launching an SDK next year that any kind of hardware company would be able to integrate these companions directly into what they're making. So if you had a robot, if you had glasses, we could become like the agentic operating system of this. And so imagine I'm in a crypto sensei, and that's the companion that's always in my ear instead of Siri, for example. That's kind of the world that we're very, very rapidly approaching. And that should actually be ready to go right around Q1 of next year.
Man, like mind blown. Mind's been blown for a while here. What languages, right? Because I know there's some people that are watching from all over the world. What languages, like, is there a list of what you cannot use? Is that a smaller list compared to everything that you can?
Yeah, no, great question. So there's some languages that we have a couple issues with, but it's not because of the language. It's really more so about optimization. But right now it can work with any language. We actually utilize different LLMs that were also trained in different languages to make it even more natural for various languages. But I can tell you, when I did a demonstration of Elena in front of I won't say exactly which one, but in front of one of the ministers for Indonesia, and Elena started talking in Bahar, like Indonesian, to the minister, they had a Home Alone moment. And when I say Home Alone moment, I mean literally they went, like, they were so shocked when they were hearing this like proper dialect, proper tones, proper pronunciations, and they saw the future. And it was just so cool to see how happy they were, because they literally said, we have no idea how we're going to educate all of these teachers across this country, because people don't realize Indonesia has 300 million people. And so they were like, we have no idea how we're going to reach all of them, how we're going to do it in a timely fashion. And we can effectively become the solution. We can become the solution so many different places all around the world. Because I know somebody in the chat said, oh, this is my worst nightmare. But I want to ask you, is it worse to not have anybody to talk to, or at least something to talk to? And at least this something to talk to isn't trying to replace friendships. They're trying to find you other people constantly that you can actually connect with in real life to hopefully, like I said, solve this problem of modern loneliness that is just sweeping the world.
Man, Blake did ask about the Discord link. Blake, in the description of the YouTube video, there's going to be everything that you need. If you're watching on Twitter, that might be a little bit more complicated. Let me go ahead and just bring up their Twitter account. So this is what you can check and go to, because I know there's a few hundred people watching on Twitter right now. So let me just bring this up so you guys can see where you need to go to start participating. Let me go here, share screen.
Well,
you know what?
Yeah, Grace, I will say, just to answer your question, who says the government won't tap in and influence everyone's thoughts? I mean, you can already see that's already happening with all the different algorithms of all the different social media platforms. But I can say, as the CEO and founder of the company, I can always not allow it, and I never plan to. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit. And I like that you say it sounds like Elon Musk brain chip, because I agree. those brain chips are terrifying, and I wouldn't want that in my head. So luckily, we've made something that won't actually be in your head. Until I can play really cool VR games with a brain chip, I personally don't want the brain chip in my head either. So I would agree with you.
So we do have an XRP related question. Are you in the XRP army? Someone wants to know if you own any XRP. It's okay if you don't.
Absolutely. I think I faded XRP a little bit around 2017 because of the lawsuit. Because I was just like, who wants to use this token now that they're being sued and da 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 da. And then around 2020, I think it was September 2023 when they released their motion for summary judgment against the SEC. When I read it, I immediately bought a bunch of XRP at that exact moment after I read it, because I was like, wow, this is one of the most legally sound arguments I've ever seen, and I had so much confidence that the case was potentially going to get thrown out after I read their MSJ. So I personally loaded up, but that's just because I'm a lawyer and I can read MSJs like that because I used to do securities laws myself. So I'm like, wow, this is a really convincing argument. I think they might have something.
Man, no, dude, that's fantastic. I'm sure we could sit here for hours and go through it all, but I just want to say, Michael Damian, the founder of Andromeda, the information that you've given us today is incredible, man. I think the amount of progress that you guys have made in under a year is truly mind-boggling. It's going to be crazy to see where you are in 6 months from now or 12 months from now. Let me, come back, man. I want you to come back before the token launches so people really can participate here. I'm going to be participating, so I think it's relevant that people, maybe get an update maybe next month when we have this more information. But just thank you, man. Thank you for coming and sharing your ideas, your dreams, your goals, everything that you guys are doing. Anything that you want to say in close?
Yeah, no, just want to say thank you again for having me on. Really always enjoy my time here on your show. And obviously, Robert, or excuse me, Crypto Sensei, I don't mean to dox you. You and I get along. I was like, oh no. So yeah, you and I always get along so well. So just thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about what we have. And for everybody listening, please sign up for the beta, tear it apart. We want you to get in there. We want you to find issues because it's going to allow us to fix them faster and iterate faster and get to where we want to get to at a much faster pace. And if you guys want to participate at all in the private sale, we're actually going to be launching with this company called Moonshot Boxes, the ability to actually buy in prior to the public sale at the private sale prices. So keep an eye out for that. Come in our Discord. We'll have a lot more information in there about it. But thank you, everybody, for asking questions. I hope you find use out of what we talked about today. I could talk about this for a lot longer, but you'll be seeing a lot of updates on all of our different social medias over the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. So please stay tuned and join the Andromeda.
Michael, man, thank you so much for your time, bro. Just incredible, man. You keep building, you keep dreaming, and we'll follow along, man, because, I'm just so glad you stopped. I'm not glad you stopped being a lawyer, but you might not have done all of this if you were still a lawyer, right? Because all the time. So
you don't have any time to do this. This is so much more fun than scrutinizing contracts and having clients yell at you all the time.
There you go, man. There you go. All right, brother. I appreciate you, Michael. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day.
Bye, XRP Army. Thank you, Robert.
Aloha, man. Thank you. See, that is when you get to interview people of that caliber and just, man, this is just truly incredible, guys. Go participate. Go create a Yap. Be a part of the community. All of the links are down in the description. Thank you so much for the great questions and listening astutely. Thank you guys so much. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Let me just say hello to everybody in the chat. We have Ariana here, keeping the chat safe. Thank you, Crypto Will, for all the information. Jason, thank you so much, man. Peter, what's up? Good to see you. Christopher, Raz, we got Hailstorm here. Good to see everybody. Curtis is here asking good questions. Jazabar, are we talking about the Swift news, the Swift and Linea news, or what are we talking about? We talk about the Vanguard news. Well, I'm all up to date, man. Let me know which news you're talking about, and I will drop the hammer. He is a cool dude, man. That's why I specifically, sometimes, you do paid collabs, and sometimes you believe in what someone's doing and you just want them to come in and talk. And that's an example of, I really like Michael as a person. And I think what he's building is truly incredible. I've heard a lot about this for the last few years. And, I want to give people like that an audio, a microphone to go through what they're building, man. I think it's relevant. It's AI. I mean, it sounds like there's a ton of other use cases that they're going to be able to go down. They're already going down. And I think, there's value there, not just for me, but for you guys too. And so glad to have him, dude. I'm really glad to have him. All right, let's get into this really quickly. I just want to go through a few pictures from the trip. I just got back from Brazil, and so this was the birthday cake that everyone got for me. This was like we had a little pizza party at the end here. This is M&Ms on pizza. This is actually Nutella and M&Ms, which was pretty actually delicious. These were some of the desserts made for the birthday here. These were really good in the middle here, these strawberry lychee things. Here is my wife's mom and dad. That was a lot of fun. Here is my wife's grandfather, Vo, and here is me right in front of the birthday cake. I gave him the first piece. This is out on the farm. This is Thais and I out just hanging out on the farm, going through everything. It was really fun. This is us coming back with all of our bags. Look, this is us, this is us, this is us, this is us, and this is us. We had so much luggage. Oh my God, it was a nightmare. And then this is us at the end of the wedding. I'm exhausted back here. I'm like, oh my God, we were there from like 10 a.m. till like 11 p.m. I was just done. I was like, oh, I need to go home and lay down. This is my wife's brother here, Rodrigo. Of course, Thaisa here. Thaisa's cousins and family, some close friends of the family. And this is Caro and Paulo. This is my favorite person in Brazil. This guy is just super funny, great cook. And it was a lot of fun to hang out with the family. Really quickly, I did do an interview yesterday with the CEO, the founder of, what am I doing here? Yikes. Okay. With the founder of Count on Sheep. If you're interested and if you need tax help with your crypto, one, go watch that interview from yesterday. And two, you can set up a free appointment to understand maybe what you are doing or what you're not doing to properly prepare for your crypto taxes. I think these guys are very well prepared to handle whatever comes their way. If you need some help with crypto taxes, please go take a look at that interview. Now, I think some of you are asking, did I see this, right? Swift Linea. Yes, I did see this. I made a video on it today. It actually, I think, came out today. Just to give you some information here, this is true. Multiple credible sources confirm that Swift is collaborating with Linea, an Ethereum-capable Layer 2 network, to build both a new stablecoin and advanced on-chain messaging system. This collaboration is in part with Swift's broader strategy to bridge traditional finance and blockchain, aiming to enhance global settlement efficiency and security. I think people maybe are a little naive to think that Swift wasn't going to make some type of moves here. Obviously, I didn't expect Swift to come out and say that they're going to be partnering with Ripple or XRP, because that's pretty much who's trying to take them over, right? So it makes sense that it's some kind of Ethereum-based product. Like I'm not shocked here. There's going to be a lot of winners in the space. I think people need to take a step back and realize that it's not just payments, right? The real value, yes, payments are, Swift moves 125 trillion, 1.25 quadrillion, I think, per year. So many numbers in my head. It's 5 trillion a day. Yes, 1.25 quadrillion a year. I got that right. Swift moves a lot of money, yes, but you gotta imagine custody, digital ID. We're seeing some really interesting things coming out of the UK today. I don't know if you saw this, but we're going to get into some of this as well. But yes, just to kind of go back over this a little bit with you here. Swift and Linea are working on an interbank settlement token, stablecoin-like asset designed for global bank use. The hard part here is this is not going to be a bridge asset. So this might be a dollar-backed stablecoin. Great, you can settle dollars, but what about the rest of the world? So, it'll be interesting to see what the system actually does and how it's going to work. But remember, this is just a pilot base right now. It is not a working product just yet. So I will keep you updated. Make sure that you're following the channel. And then Swift puts out some stuff here. 75% of payments traveling on our network reach the beneficiary in 10 minutes. But more work is needed at the final stage of payments journey, the last mile, to address the friction and delays. The problem here too, guys, is the cost, right? You can speed up the payments, get them there in 10 minutes, but you still have an enormous cost. Hundreds of billions of dollars are wasted per year on these fees. And it's just not going to work in today's market. You also have some information here about DC FinTech Week. The BIS posted about DC FinTech Week. Look at the participants. You have Ripple, Bitstamp, Robinhood, Ripple and Citi, Chainlink and RLUSD, Ondo Finance. So some names here that are pretty much, a lot of this is connected to Ripple. which I thought was interesting. You do have Scott Bessent here, the Treasurer of the United States. There was an interesting meeting earlier. What was it? Earlier in the week between the UK, the US, Casey Craddock, which is she's from Ripple. I think you had Coinbase there. You had, was it Barclays, Citi? There was a few really big institutions there as well. It's a transatlantic partnership talking about the future of payment technology, and Ripple has a seat at the table. Interesting that Swift wasn't there, or like BNB or Tron or any of these other networks, right? It was Ripple. I just find that really cool. But here, let's get into this. Let's see what Scott Bessent has to say about.
I'm concerned about the distributional aspects that we've got going here. You know, I'm concerned that working Americans are getting hit harder just because of the high rates. I'm concerned that a lot of the housing affordability crisis is on the mortgage side. So, you know, I am very concerned, and I believe that we do need rate relief. We need to get at least back to neutral.
So really quickly here, rate relief, you know, rates should come down when like the economy was kind of fixed, right? And we were almost to that point. We were almost to that 2% level. And the changes that were made, those changes are what, you know, a part of the problem that we're experiencing right now. And so instead of rates coming down as they're supposed to come down, you know, as the economy does better and better, rates are coming down now because the economy is kind of in some shambles, right? It's kind of in some trouble. And that's why they need to drop rates drastically here over the next few months. Obviously, we've seen this movie before. When you drop rates and you print money, you know, what's going to happen? Things are going to become more expensive. The issue here is, are people's wages going to keep up with the inflation? And the answer to that question is no, it's not going to keep up, because it hasn't been. And your employer is not going to magically start paying you more money just because of inflation. That's going to be a problem for working class people. But let me play this here too for you.
This is the strongest point of the bill, because on one side, it gave full depreciation to businesses, so it's spurring a CapEx boom. On the other side, it was President Trump's unique blend of economics for working Americans: no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, and interest deductibility if you buy an American car. And I think what's going to be very interesting here is most Americans have not changed their withholding for 2025. So they'll be getting substantial refunds in 2026. They'll change their withholding in January, and they will get an automatic take-home pay increase. So I think.
All right. So really quickly, just to give you some facts around this tax stuff, most of these tax, like no tax on tips and these things, expire in 2028. Just to give you the full transparency here, most of the tax benefits for regular Americans, such as lower individual income rates and increased standard deduction, expanded child tax credits, and reduced impact for alternative minimum tax, were originally set to expire at the end of 2025. Right. And so they pushed these back based on the 2017 tax cuts. However, recent legislative action by the Trump administration, One Big Beautiful Bill, has made these lower rates key tax cuts permanent for the majority of Americans, ensuring that their continuation beyond 2025. For the top 10 to 20% of earners, the tax cuts for high income households also continue under the new bill. But independent analysis show that these cuts are disproportionately benefit the top earners. In some cases, remain effective permanent. So the tax cuts that are helping the top 10 or 20% are permanent tax cuts, but the tax cuts for everybody else expire in just a few years. Right? Cool. Love that. They don't really say that, right? But that's what you're looking at. Here is the expiration date: pre-2025. Most TCJA provisions will expire at the end of 2025. Blah, blah, blah. Legislation, the new bill locks in lower rates and tax cuts, income credits. Let me see here, 2028. So some targeted temporary benefits for middle working class, no tax on tips and overtime, will expire in 2028. So just to, if you're relying on this, just know that it's only going to be for a few years. All right, let's continue with the crypto news. Rand Paul, the bull market extend into Q2 of 2026. There's a lot of people that are now talking about the bull market going into 2026. You are going to have lower rates. You are going to have, so, okay. There's the bond market in Japan obviously not doing too well. If the bond market continues to do poorly in Japan, it could collapse the US market. It could collapse a lot of this interconnectedness. And so you start to wonder. I had a really interesting conversation this morning with a good friend of mine. We jumped on a call. Usually, you jump on a call and you expect to be on a call for maybe 20, 30 minutes. We talked for almost 2 hours. And I would consider this person a close friend, a mentor, somebody that I just really enjoy speaking to. If you find somebody like that in your life, that you can get a lot of value from, that cares deeply about you. Anyways, we were talking about what the future, the next few years looks like, the next, maybe 6 to 12 months looks like. And he shared a lot of unique ideas that I want to explore personally here. But one of the things that he was talking about was the Japanese bond market. And this is something like Jake Claver talks about, right? This is kind of one of those dominoes. The thing that Jake doesn't explain is if the bond market in Japan collapses, the bond market in the US could collapse with it, right? Because what happens is Japan is one of the highest holders of US debt, okay? And if the bond market in Japan collapses, what do you think they're going to do with all that US debt? Okay, they're going to flood the market, okay? Japan, the UK, and China, those are the 3 largest holders of US debt right now. If one of them starts to panic sell, what do you think the other 2 are going to do? Do you think they're going to hold on to their debt and pray that it comes back? Or do you think those countries are going to start dumping too? So the problem is you need somebody on the other side buying all of this debt, right? And those people, those institutions are now stablecoin companies. So you see how the US needs crypto and stablecoin companies to buy the debt that these countries might be offloading. Also, if the bond market were to collapse, I'd imagine that markets will go with it. Okay. So you're talking about a lot of pain pretty quickly. So keep your eye on what's happening in Japan because it will affect your bottom line. Obviously, if all of these things happen, it could be beneficial for XRP holders, but it will be, could be Armageddon for a lot of people. So just be mindful of that. All right. All right, let's get into this clip. I'm going to grab a little bit more water as I play this.
Why is Bitcoin sort of not wildly off to the races yet?
Stay there. Stay.
And it's this chart. Bitcoin is basically, this is a detrended Bitcoin. And it's basically the ISM, which is the business cycle. Remember, we've always said it's the business cycle stupid. It is always the business cycle stupid. And all of these people who claim it's the 4-year cycle based around this and that, they don't understand the fundamental of what the business cycle is, why there's a 4-year cycle in everything. And we've explained it. And we'll go through it in great detail tomorrow in our Everything Code presentation. But basically, it's following the ISM. And rates have been following the same pattern. You see, rates should have come lower. They need to come lower because we need to roll the debt. We've talked about this. That's part of the Everything Code, fundamental part. And ISM, because rates are so high, has meant that Main Street has been screwed while Wall Street's made money from debasement. Earnings versus scarce assets. This is the issue that they need to solve, and they need to get rates lower. They get rates lower. Why? Why do we have an elongated business cycle that looks like virtually no other real other time? It's because, and I only just found this out redoing the work on the Everything Code recently, is that in 2021-22, they actually extended the maturity of the debt from 4 years to 5 years. So that extension of the maturity of debt has pushed out the business cycle a year. The 4-year cycle this time around is a 5-year cycle. We don't know what the next one will be until we see where they all end up getting refinanced, whether it comes back to 4 because they managed to get some stuff at the long end, or whether they shorten it because everything's in the short end. We don't know yet, but this one is a 5-year cycle. And this is what it looks like. The 5.4-year sine curve, 5.4 years is the exact average weighted maturity of the debt. And it tells us the ISM should peak by 2026. We think liquidity probably peaks before that, as the rate of change of ISM changes and the rate of change of liquidity changes. Our best guess remains well into 2026.
Well into 2026. I'll take it. I mean, shoot, that'd be really great. I think we all could use a little bit more. Linnea did pump today on the news about Swift. Just want to show you that. Okay, here is some things happening that I made a video about earlier. Okay, part of this new, how do we talk about this? Part of this new blockchain slash economy, this transition to digital payments and all this stuff. One of these steps is digital ID. Okay, and every country is going to have a different way how they are going to try to roll this out. Some countries are going to be very soft and say, hey, we have digital ID, sign up for it. If you do, we'll give you maybe $100 or whatever. Like, I'm just trying to give you some ways that countries might entice people to get involved in some of this, okay? Some countries are just going to kick you right in the hoo-hoo, okay? And this is getting kicked right in the hoo-hoo. Let me show you this.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. Because decent, pragmatic, fair-minded people, they want us to tackle the issues that they see around them. And of course, the truth is, we won't solve our problems if we don't also take on the root causes, looking upstream to tackle poverty, conflict.
Okay, so this brought up a lot of things for me. Basically, if you cannot work in the UK unless you get one of these digital IDs. And so the UK is taking an approach that, you're either in or you're out here. And, there are going to be some people that push back. I think there was already 1 million people that signed a petition against this. And, it'll be interesting to see where they take this, right? Let me see here what you guys are saying. Sensei, the UK has over 2 million citizens at the moment who signed the petition. Wow. When I recorded the video earlier, it was 1 million. Now it's 2 million. That's pretty crazy, man. I'd imagine there's a lot of people who are not going to be open to this. It's going to be, I think we've known this is coming for some time, right? So this is not a surprise. I think the way that they are approaching to roll this out, it might be a surprise. But I think this is going to show other countries what may not work, right? This is uncomfortable for people, right? It's uncomfortable for me to talk about, right? Because this is an explosive issue that people feel very opinionated, either one side or the other, right? And recently, I haven't seen many opinions on the other side that are down with this. I've just seen a lot of people talking negatively about it. So I know this is kind of like one of those supercharged things. So I just want to, talk about this as light as we can. But this is pretty aggressive. CJ says, I hope crypto rips before it comes to Canada. Big chunk of land with bunkers, full equipment to build and self-sustaining. 1,000 acres would be great. CJ, I think if the world starts to end, man, I need to call you and see if I can get a flight to Canada, man. It sounds like you're gonna have a nice big bunker. Might need to get some help there. Crazy times. It is crazy times, man. And here, I'll show you some of the stuff that I researched this earlier and I wanted to look at the benefits and the downsides. And so let me just share with you some of these thoughts that, I was coming up with earlier when I was researching this topic. The newly announced digital IDs system in the UK will make it mandatory for anyone wishing to work in the country to have a digital ID. Both notable benefits and downsides. Here, let's talk about the benefits first. So these are the perceived benefits that they are trying to sell the people on. Streamline access to services. Digital ID will allow citizens and legal residents to prove their identity quickly for government and private sector services, such as applying for benefits, opening a bank account, renting property, or getting a driver's license. This could reduce paperwork and save time for both individuals and institutions. Of course, it talks about enhanced security. The government states that the main purpose is to combat illegal working by making it harder for individuals without the right to reside or work to gain employment in the UK. So this is one of the biggest arguments How do we, stop this crackdown on migrants? Well, we eliminate their ability to work. And I think this is one of their main selling points, which not a great selling point in my eyes, but all good. Economic and social inclusion supporters argue that digital IDs can help with economic growth, allowing faster onboarding for jobs and services. Okay. No requirement to carry ID. Basically, they'll have your photo and your information, so you don't got to carry it. But anyways, let's take a look at some of these downside risks. Privacy and surveillance risk. Critics warn of significant privacy risk, arguing that creating a digital national ID could make citizens' personal information vulnerable to misuse, hacking, or government overreach. So you can imagine that there's going to be some people in the government or that have access to these systems that are being paid to be nefarious. And if that is the case, right, I don't think you can count and rely on everybody just doing the right thing. People, humans are not built like that. And so what kind of misuse could somebody get by having access to this system? Digital inclusion. Many worry that older adults, those of maybe low income, or anybody without access to a smartphone could face exclusion or difficulty registering, potentially locking vulnerable populations of work or essential services. Potential for discrimination or inequality, civil liberties concerns, of course, and then, unclear effectiveness. So, this is, I don't know how this is going to play out, to be quite frank with you. I would imagine it would have been easier. Keir will be dragged out of parliament. I think he's on his way out already, isn't it? I think there's, I think Nigel Farage or something is going to be the next, sounds like the next PM there. And he's against it too. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out as well. But I think this goes and shows other countries, if you're going to do this, you got to find maybe better ways of communicating this to the public, telling people flat out that you have to do this or else. Probably not the best way to do it. Like if it was me, I would probably roll this out with, hey, sign up for a digital ID. We'll give you $100 or $500. A lot of the people that are going to be against it are like, hey, free money. I'll sign up, right? That's a way you can combine a CBDC with a digital ID. And that's how I always thought they would get people, right? Give you free money. I guess this is them not trying to give you free money. Yeah, that's what I've heard, but it's not my politics. I'm not a UK resident, so really not my concern at this point. But I know a lot of people do live in the UK that watch the channel, and I'm interested to hear your opinion since you are dealing with this on the ground. Scott, what's up, dude? Aloha from the Big Island. What's up, my friend? BlackRock XRP spot ETF next coming, getting closer and closer. I think I would be shocked. I would be shocked if you didn't see a BlackRock XRP ETF. Now, it is going to require customers demanding the product, just like they did for Bitcoin, Ethereum, but I'd imagine it's coming. Kind of like to get a pokey so you can go outside during COVID times. Kind of like getting a pokey. Well, oh yeah. Not your liking, Sensei, but they want a Trump here. Yeah. Great. Love that. I don't know, man. Like, it's not like I'm rooting against Trump. I want him to do good. I want the country to do good. I just don't agree with some of the ways that he goes about it. And I think there's a lot of people that can agree with that. But let's freaking avoid that subject like the plague, because it doesn't end well no matter what. CFTC launches an initiative for using tokenized collateral, including stablecoins, in derivatives markets. So it looks like regulators are now preparing the derivatives market to go fully on chain, guys. This is what we want to see. There's a lot of value in the derivatives market. People look at the numbers of 500 trillion to 1 quadrillion. Really, it's about $20 trillion of actual value, but all good. You did see Ripple, Tether, Coinbase, Circle, Crypto.com, the industry partners' new tokenization framework. Okay, so the US really, really needs these people. And it would be interesting. What would be very interesting? Like, I was trying to think about this, right? What would the US do if if the other side was still in charge and they were anti-crypto, because I don't see another solution out of this problem that you need somebody to buy, trillions of dollars of this debt. I don't way out, right? What would that be like? Oof, rough. It would be rough, dude. It would be rough. Man, what did you miss? I mean, nothing crazy. The UK is rolling out digital IDs for people, and it's mandatory if you want to work in the UK. So that's kind of a tough subject that we're going through. We in the beginning of the chat, though, I interviewed Michael Damian from Andromeda. That guy's incredible. Just if you missed that interview, man, go back and watch it. I think that's going to be a great opportunity for people. Jen, great to see you. How are you, Jen? It's been a while. Nice to see you, Jen. Abe says, I was very skeptic to digital ID, but I've had it for 10 years now in Sweden. It's a good thing I have to use. So Abe, there you go. There's somebody that says that they've had it for a long time and find it useful. Abe, thank you for sharing that, Abe. I really appreciate you, man. Yeah, COVID was tough. It was tough on a lot of people. I think, it was hard up mentally because everyone was cut off from the people that we love and we care about, we see all the time. And I don't think anybody made it through that the same. I don't think anyone made it through the same. I can tell you that after, COVID, I was, and I think I still am a little kind of shut in from the outside. If I get into like a public setting, I could be very personable and outgoing and what's it called? But like part of me is like, I need to get back into my bubble, And I think that's something we all kind of struggle with. Don't give up your freedoms. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let's jump in. We got a few more things here. It looks like the Clarity Act, looks like the House formally sent the Clarity Act to the Senate last Thursday. It was referred to the banking GOP. It comes after the House voted to retroactively combine the anti-CBDC bill with the Clarity Act. I don't know, man. I think the U.S. maybe doesn't understand the benefits of a wholesale CBDC. Like, I get not wanting to put out a retail CBDC. That's your prerogative. That's what you want to do right now. I totally understand that. But a wholesale CBDC, central bank to bank, like it just kind of makes sense. But that is what they're deciding to do. All good. Hold on. It looks like there's been some updates here to Ripple Payments. Ripple Payments Direct 2.0 Mastered US USD Payments Guide to Creating Identity Tokens for ACH Real-Time Payments and Wire in Ripple's Payments Directory. So that's interesting for people doing these types of payments. Here is the information on the transatlantic partnership. So Casey Craddock, I guess we'll give her a follow. Casey Craddock is the UK CEO and Managing Director of, UK CEO and Managing Director, UK and Europe. Okay, that's a mouthful. We need to work on the title, Casey. But she said this earlier this week. I posted about the Downing Street Roundtable during President Trump's state visit to the UK. I attended alongside representatives from the UK and the US governments and financial crypto industries. This meeting was a precursor for the announcement that the UK and US Transatlantic Task Force for Markets of the Future, an important initiative which will build on the deep and enduring partnership between the UK and the US in financial services. The new task force will lead to closer cooperation between the US and the UK on digital assets, creating an opportunity to align with stablecoins, tokenization, and cross-border market access, as well as setting the template for international cooperation in our industry. As a US headquarter company with major presence in the UK, Ripple is well placed to leverage strong transatlantic footprint to further drive US and UK tech innovation. So that's really incredible to see, guys. Another task force that Ripple is a part of. Interesting. BIS task force, US Faster Payments task force, US UK Transatlantic task force, ISO task force. what task force is Ripple not on? Right? You look at like who's in the room and who's not in the room. Right? Let me see here. Oh, when the UK and US. Let's see here. Let's see who is in the room and who's not in the room, because that is something I am interested in. Okay. So let's see, right? Here we go. So you have Rachel Reeves, UK Chancellor, Scott Bessent, senior UK and US financial regulators. So you have people from the HM Treasury, US Treasury, CFTC, and FCA, executives from Coinbase, Circle, Ripple. Okay, so so Coinbase, Circle, and Ripple. All right. If you are going to be a part of this new transatlantic financial system, wouldn't you need to be in the room? Just saying. You know, it's interesting that like representatives of Swift weren't in the room, or representatives from any other blockchain, right? If you are important enough, you got an invite. If you're not important enough, you stayed home. Just thought that was interesting. Very interesting. Country is already in trouble. Which country are we talking about? And I think a lot of countries are facing a lot of issues right now. Like in 2024, the economy was already slowing globally, right? And I think everything that we've done recently has made that a little bit worse. You know, when we are taxing and tariffing and threatening each other with trade wars, I don't think anybody truly wins. And like, what is the end game here? What is the end game? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. UK, yeah, that's tough, man. Yeah, I think people in the UK have some decisions to make, and you know, it's going to be. I know people that live in the UK are very passionate about what they believe in, just like people everywhere. But you know, I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of the people there, and it sounds like the way that they're going about this might not turn out too well. Lusk, gotta go before the sun comes out. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. David, speaking in all caps, Ripple, World Bank XRP, World Bank currency, fill your bags while you can. David, thank you so much, man. They're screwed. You know, I think we're all a little bit screwed, Lusk, honestly. You know, I think this is why we invest in crypto. This is why we believe in something greater than ourselves. This is why we understand that this new financial system will be you know, blockchain related, and we're just trying to participate in the way that we know that we can, and we are trying to stay out of this system. And the way you stay out of their system is by having enough money to basically stay out of the system, right? And yeah, man. What do you think the current U.S. political issues will have any effect for cryptocurrency and XRP? I think the Trump family has been very pro crypto, right? I mean, they've just in 2025, the Trump family has made billions of dollars off of their crypto investments, billions with a B, and they'll probably make billions more over the next few years. So, do you think they're going to stop it in any way, shape, or form? No. It is all gas, no brake. So, you know, when you have all of the regulators from, you know, the top down saying pro crypto, everything is pro crypto, go out and get it handled. It's going to be good for people that own crypto. It's going to be bad for the people that are skeptics. It's going to be bad for the people that don't see what's coming. It's going to be bad for the people that can't understand it. And those people will be the people that are saying, oh man, my neighbor told me about XRP when it was, 30 cents and I didn't buy it. And then he told me about XRP at $1.50 and I didn't buy it. Then he told me about XRP at $3 and I didn't buy it, right? Skeptics, those people are going to lose the most. And there's not much we can do about that. David, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Really, thank you so much. I know some of the stuff that we talk about here can be difficult, can be hard. I know that I've had to rebalance some of my thoughts over the years and try to, see all the different sides. And, I appreciate you showing up and participating and communicating, and it means a lot, man. Thank you. Sensei, on a different note, a lot of streamers thought we dip more today and things went up. Thoughts? I mean, listen, dips happen. When dips happen, if you have additional money to put in the market, if you think it's going to go up, I mean, it's written on the wall, right? Obviously, talk with a financial advisor if you need to do that. But there is nobody that I see that is saying that the next 3 months are going to be shit for crypto. Everybody is expecting, everybody's expecting. And I don't see why not. Rates are going down. They're going to print money, right? They're going to prop up markets. Now's the time. Now's the time. So this is an interesting topic, right? I think if you're paying attention to what's happening with the president, I think he's going through some health issues, and you start to wonder what happens in the event that his term expires or something maybe incapacitates him, and then maybe JD Vance has to step in. So something could happen, right? I think in the event that JD Vance needs to step in and help, maybe if he gets sick for some time or something happens, right? I think JD Vance is very pro crypto. He owns Bitcoin. He understands the industry. He's actually a much younger, more connected, maybe to people in the blockchain space. He's, Peter Thiel is basically given him his whole career. So I'd imagine whatever Peter Thiel wants, JD Vance will give him. But that could be something that, we'll have to pay attention to in real time. What happens if, at the end of Trump's term, if let's say the other side gets back into power, like I think some people are worried about that. And I think this is when you set up laws and regulations and you pass bills and you do it together in Congress, no one's coming in and rechanging that, right? What happens is when you have executive orders, when the president just signs stuff and that happens, those things can be taken down and X'd out and changed and things like that. But when you actually have Congress passing a bill, a bipartisan bill, that's very difficult to unwind. And we're not even a year into Mr. Trump's second term. You still have at least 3 years plus with him at the helm. I'd imagine all of this stuff will be done, and I mean, this is all going to be solidified over the next few years. I don't think we have to worry about any of that stuff. Personally, I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about a lot of other things, but I'm not worried about that. Yeah, WH Sui, obviously Sui is a great asset. Let's go. Big Kahuna says Flare launch of XRP markets a significant step. Allows XRP to be deployed on Flare network. Launch 9/24. 7 million XRP has been deposited in Flare's mint system. Let's go. Ray says he's surprised markets are even green. I know there's a lot of tough information to take in right now, but I still think skies are blue. We get dips. Boo-hoo. I don't know. I'm not trying to rhyme. Say another 5 to 7. All right. Zora 7 to 8x. Damn, WH, you go. 10 gifted. Okay, Hailstorm is going to gift 10 memberships to people. I think you just got to click on it if you want a membership. Hailstorm, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Let's see if anyone takes you up on the 10 gifted. I saw this. I was watching some other channel and somebody did this, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. You can gift memberships to people. ADA and XLM and crypto is supposed to have potential. Yeah, I like ADA. I like XLM. I mean, I've been telling people that I'm buying ADA 60 cents. You know, let's go. Let's go. I think Charles Hodgkinson's a very smart guy, and he's going to figure some stuff out, man. I think you gotta jump on that. Sensei, do you believe or expect a supply stock very soon? I mean, you're already seeing that. You're already seeing a supply shock. There's not enough XRP on exchanges, and when that dries up, whatever's left, what does that actually look like? You know, what is that going to do to the price? I think people are underestimating what that's going to do, honestly. Hailstorm, I just really appreciate you. Thank you for doing that. I know there's some people that'll pick that up. If you're interested in getting a free membership from the gifted Hailstorm, just thank you, man. That was really kind of you. I need that. I need that. Price. We're all looking for it. WH says, Zora holding nice. Golden Pocket respects the fibs. The dump. It's been holding up, sitting at all-time highs. Keep it on your radar. Thank you so much. Thoughts on Zbic? I mean, I know a lot of people have been bullish on it. I've seen a lot of like partnership announcements. Rock and roll. You know? I mean, I'm personally not buying Zbic. You know, at this time, I'd rather buy either more XRP or more ADA, you know, but I think a lot of people think Zbic's going to do some big things, and I hope you make a ton of money, man. It's randomly chosen? I thought you could just click on it. Oh, I thought you just clicked on it and you got it. See how much I know about YouTube. You know? Is it the lack of XRP because exchanges are keeping for the ETFs or major players? So okay. Let's just go through this then. So when I've done research on this, I can only speak to the research that I've done. I've seen a lot of people talking about how much supply is actually left on exchanges. And I think I saw a clip from Jake Claver recently saying that like 1.9 billion, I think if I remember correctly, less than 2 billion is left. Okay. Exchanges are not like, if people are wanting to buy XRP, exchanges are there to sell it to them. Now there could be some contracts or different things that exchanges promise to hold so much XRP for such and such. That could be a possibility, right? But once you start going through it, right? Like one of the questions will be is, can institutions buy XRP from the escrow? That is a question, right? Because remember, these are going to be US institutions offering these products in the United States. I don't know if they're allowed to buy XRP from Ripple without kind of some exemption or something like that, right? So, you know, there are people that speculate that the escrowed XRP is already spoken for. I personally don't agree with those people. I'd imagine some of it is spoken for, but not all of it. If all the XRP was spoken for, Ripple wouldn't be relocking up 70% of that XRP every month, right? You can go back and look at the numbers. Almost every month in 2025, they've relocked 70% of the XRP. There was 1 month that they relocked like 670 million, which is 67%. So, you know, when you relock that XRP, you're relocking that XRP up for 4 years. Okay. So, you know, is someone like going to be okay with that? Like if you have a contract to buy XRP at a certain price, wouldn't you want that XRP now? Or if you're an institution that has an ETF that's about to launch, wouldn't you need or want that XRP now? Right? So you start to just, you know, play this out in your head. You start to just look at what you can see, what you know. And I'd imagine that the demand that ETFs will bring in the short term could put a serious supply shock on our hands. I respect that. I respect that move. Sold my rental property in 2018. 90% went into gold, 10% went into XRP. Go, go, go. Ken Plummer, man. Ken, it sounds like you made some really good decisions in your life, man. I wish you freaking all the best, man. I hope you kill it, Ken. I hope you make So much money. I was lucky to get a membership, man. That's awesome. That is truly awesome. Mr. X, absolutely, man. I hope you're well. How come XRP keeps taking mad? I think it's just market sentiment, like what's happening in the market. It's not just specifically XRP. You have these moments where XRP pumps, and then you have pullbacks, and you have pumps, and you have pullbacks. I mean, it's actually not as bad as it could be, dude. I remember in like 2020, when Bitcoin would pump and then it would drop like 40 or 50%, right? And it would pump and then other things would drop 40 or 50%. And XRP dropping 30 cents, 40 cents, it's not a big deal for me, because I'm like, hey, if I have some extra money, I'll buy some more XRP. If I have this, I'll buy some more ADA. These are opportunities for some people, but I get why it can be frustrating, especially if you just want it to go up. I get it. But we are still in a very speculative market. Like we're still speculating on, is XRP worth $3? Is XRP worth $2.80? Okay. With this institutional demand coming, that is going to help, but we're all still speculating, right? We need to reach a level of utility. That is where real price discovery comes from. And whether that's a collapse of a certain market and you need XRP for liquidity or rebalancing, whatever that is, that is something that we're going to have to address once it happens. But right now, we're still all just speculating. And I think people need to understand that. All right. Just Hailstorm says, I just want to give back. We're all trying to get true freedom. Hailstorm, man. Just thank you, man. That's really big. T Scott, yeah, we did talk about this earlier, but let's get back into it one more time, brother. I got you. So you're talking about this, right? T Scott wanted to talk about what's Swift doing with Linea. So here's the breakdown. I made a video on this earlier too, if you're interested. The information in the image is true. Multiple credible sources confirm that Swift is collaborating with Linea, Ethereum capable layer 2, to build a new stablecoin that advanced on-chain messaging system. This collaboration is part of Swift's broader strategy to bridge traditional finance and blockchain, aiming to enhance global settlement efficiency, security by leveraging blockchain capabilities. So Swift is making some moves here to try to combat all of these other crypto companies. This looks like to be a pilot with some banks. I'd imagine sooner or later we were going to get some news around this. Were you expecting some news about Swift adopting XRP? Because I think that's maybe, I wasn't ever expecting to see that type of thing, right? Or Swift partnering with Ripple, because Ripple's basically there to try to replace Swift, right? When we talked about this earlier, I did mention that payments is a big use case, but it's not the use case, right? It is a good use case. It is a giant use case. But, I would rather be like the settlement asset for the stock market, or some of that value, right? That 50 trillion, $60 trillion of value. I'd like to see some of that on chain. I'd like to see the bond market on chain. I think that's where value can come from. But you also need to have XRP representing that value on chain, real estate, all that kind of stuff. But T Scott, if you're interested in more, I did make a video that should be out today sometime. Whether if it came out earlier, I don't know. My team puts it all out. Let's see here. Do you think Ripple's RLUSD integration with BlackRock could directly boost demand for XRP itself? Well, they're using RLUSD, right? And it's on Ethereum. So no. The news is great. And I'd imagine their goal will be to do some of this on the XRP ledger. But the initial announcement was on Ethereum, right? RLUSD on Ethereum. Now, can that go cross chain or whatever? We'll have to see. There wasn't that, a total information on all of that. But I think it shows that BlackRock knows exactly who Ripple is. BlackRock is serious about stepping into the future, and BlackRock could have picked anybody to do this with, right? They are the biggest financial giant in the entire world. So they have a carte blanche pick of whoever they want to work with. They chose to work with Ripple on this. I think that speaks very highly to the professionalism that the Ripple team shows out here. And I think, it's what we like. What happened? You hit the hide button? I don't know how to do that. Mr. X with the $10. Mr. X, I appreciate the donation to the channel, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you. That's huge, dude. Flare, obviously, Thomas, you know, it's going to be a massive DeFi layer for XRP. I think there's going to be a lot of benefit and value. And I think their goal is to lock up 5 billion XRP, right? The really cool part of all of this is we want to reduce the circulating supply. Okay. The circulating supply right now is 59 billion. If you can reduce that circulating supply to like 5 billion or 1 billion, you need a whole lot less money to go onto the XRP ledger to make that price much more, right? Like imagine going from 60 billion down to 1 billion circulating. That is a 60x decrease on how much money would need to come in for you to reach higher prices, right? And so if you have 1 billion circulating and you're at a $1 trillion market cap, right? That's $1,000 XRP, right? If you're at a $10 trillion market cap and you have 1 billion circulating, it's a $10,000 XRP. So you need a whole lot less money to come on chain to reach those high numbers. And I think that's what I'm really hoping for. Ariana, I actually hit hide button on Arthur Samolsky. Like hide indefinitely. Yeah, listen, save his name. Arthur, sorry about that. You know, misclick. I will go into the settings of the stream after to fix that. All right. So we won't forget about you, Arthur. Let me just take a picture of this so I can look for it. And sorry about that. Thanks, Ariana, for telling me. Oh yeah, the fear of the government shutdown. This is kind of why markets are kind of trending down too. I mean, they'll figure it out. You know, what is his name? I can't remember the guy's name. The kind of short guy who's in charge of the Congress, Mike Johnson. He'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. Do I believe that major players are buying at huge discounts? So, great question, N. Let's just address and talk about this for a second. The way I think about this is if you had a contract years ago that said that you were entitled to so much XRP at this price, yes, they are getting a discount. But if you are Ripple today and somebody's coming to you asking to buy XRP at 50 cents or 30 cents, are you gonna deal with that? Why would you? Right? So I think Ripple does have the ability to, you know, say, hey, look, this is all the stuff that's happening. We're not going to sell it to you for 50 cents or even $1. But if you want to buy it at 250 or whatever, you know, closer to market price, that is acceptable. Because what you don't want, and I'm sure this will be in contracts and all this stuff, but what you don't want is a bank or institution buying it for cheap and then dumping it on the open market. And I think that is probably, you know, in boilerplate in some of those contracts to say that they cannot sell a certain amount of that XRP within this time frame. And so I'd imagine Ripple is doing everything they can to protect so you don't see the massive dumping like that. But hey, we don't know what we don't know, and I won't speak to it as like I have direct knowledge. This is just my thoughts as you asked the question and as I'm trying to imagine with my knowledge around the subject. I'm just trying to imagine like what would be said and how that would play out. Dustin, how can I get a good indicator? A good indicator of what? The market? I mean, some people look at Coinbase downloads. You know, some people look at certain tokens and tops. I replace Swift. It's easier said than done, right? Because Swift is the conglomerate of the 12,500 banks or whatever, right? Or 11,500 banks. They're not going to go down without a fight. right? So what does that look like? And will they be able to bring the cost down? That is one of the biggest problems. And we'll have to see what that Linea partnership does. Brad was interviewed and he said he was reserving 22 billion from escrow for Ripple utilization. That's only 13 billion left in escrow. I hadn't seen that, Ken. Ken, can you email that to me? I would hold on. Let me see if Lexi has any information on this. I'm asking Lexi if she has any information on this. Have you heard of Midas MXRP? Yeah, David. I did a video on it actually, 2 videos like maybe a few days ago. I think it's already maxed out, but I definitely just made content about this. If you're interested in learning about it, I cover everything that you need to know. So just to bring this up, there was I think what was it? Ken said Brad was interviewed and he said reserve 22 billion in escrow. So I'm just Ken, I cannot confirm that. So if you actually have that video, please send it to me. I'll take a look at it, and if it's accurate, I will. I'll let people know, man. Appreciate you sharing that. Ripple does own the rails. They do own the rails. Imagine Ripple buying another business-to-business stablecoin company. That would be interesting, right? Because 10% rail already does 10%. So if you buy another 10%, now you own a fifth of the world's business-to-business. I think that's what Ripple's looking for. DXRP Morgan, I appreciate you. Thank you for showing up and sharing some kind words. Love that, man. Oh, it's okay. What's up, dude? What is up? What's up? What's up? Great to see you, man. Thomas says, I follow you on Twitter, X, but Gronk, AI is a very useful tool breaking down information, but I really starting to believe in crypto. Yeah, Thomas, learn as much as you can. Spend as much time as you can. Now's a very important time. A few good decisions today could, create ripples for generations for your family. Seriously. This is the biggest transfer of wealth in history. This is also the ability to own a piece of the next financial system. People have never had that opportunity. Never. So, yeah, spend the time, learn as much as you can, and I'll do everything I can to help you on that journey. Man, yeah, David, appreciate it. Let me see if I can, help you on this really quickly. Hold on. Oh my God, you remember, like, I have so many passwords, I can't remember. Ah! Hold on. I'm trying to log into something, but I am having a hard time remembering my password. Oh no. Did I get it? I got it. Okay. Here we go. Oh, not live. Videos. So hard to see which one's MXRP though. It's going to be in these last few days. It's going to be in the last few days. Luna's good, dude. She's sleeping. She actually had a bad seizure last night. My wife and I, Thaisa won an award at work, and they had this like this banquet dinner. The bank that she works at, it has a restaurant at the top of the building, right? It's on the 30th floor. It overlooks almost everything, like on this side of Honolulu. It's incredibly, it's breathtaking. And they have these private chefs, and it was like a 6-course or 7-course meal, prepared 5 stars. It was truly incredible. But we were out for from the dinner was from 5 till 8. And when we got back, we noticed some throw up on the floor. And so we looked at the camera, and Luna had an episode. And she had an episode at about 10 o'clock at night as well. And yeah, so we're gonna have to take her, in to get an MRI. And she's doing okay, but it's a little worrying, a little concerning. Thank you for asking. They'll get it, man. They'll figure it out. Like, I think, part of it is that when one side gets into power and they control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, they don't want to listen to the other side. Whatever side it is, doesn't want to listen to the other side. And sometimes you need that other side to make forward progress on all of this stuff. And I don't know, man. Mike Johnson seems to be the guy who's in control of the House and the voting and all of this stuff. He's going to have to figure it out. So I think they'll get it done. But there could be a little drama, and there could be a little fireworks, and there could be garbage piled up and people not working for some time. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, let me help you with the strong password. I know. I was like, I like every single thing has a different password. So it's hard to remember sometimes. I appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you. Another 20 gifted subs. Wow. Thank you so much, man. Thank you, dude. In your opinion, would it be good minimum amount of XRP to hold? So Mista, like, I have no idea what your personal life is like, or where you live, or how much you need to survive, or any of that. I can only tell you that I'm still trying to buy XRP. I still feel like I don't have enough. And, I think I'll continue to buy XRP up to a certain point. Maybe that's $5, maybe that's $10. But I feel like the time to buy $2.85 XRP is slowly fading away. And, I'm trying to position myself to have enough where if XRP reaches, $500 or $1,000, that, my family will be good for the rest of my life and maybe future generations. I don't know. We'll have to see how we have to see how it rolls. Thank you. I appreciate you. That's okay. Oh, Blake, I'm really sorry to hear that, man. I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope you're okay, man. Hailstorm with another 20 gifted. Wow. That's incredible, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the love and support for Luna. That's huge. Time to buy is now. Yeah. Time to buy is now. I definitely think so. Thank you guys. Yeah, there's been 30 gifted memberships given out by Hailstorm today. That's really incredible. Lee White says, thank you for the gifted. What are we looking up? The gifted membership? All right, I have a few other things I wanted to just get into really quickly here. Just some stuff, some other stuff. You know, just bear with me as we go through this. All right. I think this was yesterday's date. New tariffs, 100% tariffs on pharmaceuticals, 50% tariffs on kitchen cabinets, 50% tariffs on bathroom vanities and associated products, 30% tariffs on upholstered furniture, 25% tariffs on heavy trucks, and we should cut interest rates to 2%. Okay. And then here's a tweet here. Pharmaceuticals are next. It began with large cap technology companies announcing $600 billion investments in the U.S. to avoid tariffs. Now, President Trump is explicitly stating that pharmaceutical companies who are not building their manufacturing plants in America will face 100% tariffs. So your medications might get double the price, sometimes maybe higher. That's going to be tough for some people, especially people that are struggling to afford their medication already. That's going to be really tough. U.S. income inequality is surging at a concerning pace. The pay gap between the highest and lowest income earners hit a whopping 526% in August, the second highest reading since at least 5 years. Since May 2021, the gap has widened by 98 percentage points. In November 2020, the difference between the top 25% and bottom 25% was about 480%. This comes as recent hiring slowdown and massive, more negative impact on low-income earners. The also additional problem here is AI, right? If you are in a job where you think AI can replace you, and if you're not spending time on AI, that's a problem. That's going to be a real big problem. You should start spending some time on it. There's a shocking stat of the day. The top 10% largest U.S. stocks now reflect 78% of the market cap. So if anything happens to one of these companies, that could be catastrophic. This exceeds the previous record set in the 1930s by 3 percentage points. This also is above peak of the 2000 .com bubble when the percentage point was 74. By comparison, in 1980s, the weight of the top 10% was below 50%. Meanwhile, the top 10 stocks as a percent of the S&P's market cap is at a record 41%. Kind of scary when just a few companies represent most of the value in the stock market. August PCE inflation, the Fed's preferred inflation measure, rises to 2.7%, in line with expectations. Core PCE inflation was 2.9%, in line with expectations. PCE inflation is the highest since February 2025. And I think that's it with the news, which is good. Yeah, 30 memberships is a huge donation. It's a huge donation. Thank you, Dreamer. Like, thank you, man. Sensei, I don't always agree with political stuff, but he does an outstanding job of bringing us XRP and crypto news, developments, analysis, and hands down. Yeah, I think we're all never going to agree on the same things. But if we can listen to each other, if we can talk to each other, if we can understand what the other side is saying, I think that's kind of bringing us back to being human and being able to connect with our neighbors and people that we love. I think there's a lot of families that are still, not talking to each other, and we have all of this resentment built up because of the way that we feel, and we're very passionate about our politics and the things that we believe in. And it's tough. It's tough, man. And I appreciate you. It's okay. Thank you. We need to get some extra emoji memberships. I think we're gonna roll out. There's some people that want to like be encryptionaires and they want like access to new information on new projects and things like that. But there's people out there that just want like XRP news and information, right? And so like when I was on my trip, I was thinking about like, how can I help those specific people, right? The people that don't want to join the community, people that just want maybe access to my videos early, or videos without ads, right? Or access to specific research I'm doing in real time, access to XRP related news and my reaction to that news in real time. And so we are thinking of rolling out all of those things in one, right? In a specific place where you can just get all XRP all the time. And that could be like $20 a month or something like that. So we're looking at, doing that because I need to, my team, and they're going to be posting and I'm going to be there and spending time. And so we got to make it so it's, it's worth the time spent to do it. And so we'll see how that goes. Man, I am tired. I am tired. We had a long flight back, 35 hours. 35 hours, a long time. And my neck's hurting, my back's hurting. Oh my God. But I'll be here for a little bit longer. I love sushi. Like Kame took me out to a really nice sushi place a few weeks ago. That was incredible. That was real good, man. XRP does bring us all together. XRP does bring us all together. That was incredibly sad. That was hard. Digital ID is now happening in the UK. Australia is next. Yeah, it does feel like that, man. It does feel like that. And then they're going to say, if you don't get this digital ID, you won't be able to have a bank account. You won't be able to get a driver's license. You won't be able to be a human being. But this is how they're going to get you into the system. This is how they're going to get you in the system. Yeah, I am really tired. All right. We're going to call it then. We're going to call it. People keep telling me how tired I look. I'm going to go spend some time with Luna. I appreciate everyone being here. Next Tuesday, I have another special guest. We're going to get into that. A lot of things happening in the crypto space, guys. I am determined to keep you up to date. Our team is rolling out shorts on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. If you're on any of those platforms, look in the description for my links to the right socials. I appreciate you. I just want to thank again Hailstorm for gifting 30 memberships to people. I want to thank Mr. X. I want to thank everybody that participated, that shows up every stream, that just, I cannot thank you enough for the love, the support, and just, it means the world. Thank you to Ariana, Curtis, OSOK, Christopher, everybody in the chat, Jezabar, Blake, just thank you guys. Jordan, thank you guys. All right. I'll see you on Tuesday, and I'll also see you this weekend with a bunch of fresh content. All right. Aloha. Bye. Luna, we did it.